What is going on, everybody? Today I'll be making my 2020 NFL mock draft picks 1 through 32. This is my first full round mock draft. This is based on the standings so far. I know there's 4 teams that I can't predict yet, but these will be the rest of the teams that I could that are already set and stoned. If you have not checked out my last mock draft, link will be down in the description below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right on into it. So the first pick in this year's draft is Joe Burrow. So now I think the Bengals need a quarterback, and Joe Burrow has just played exceptional this season. He's a lock up at number 1. The Bengals have showed continuous interest in Joe Burrow, and the national championship game just proves why he is easily the best quarterback going into this year's draft. He will give the Bengals a boost. With the second pick, the Redskins select Chase Young. Now, Chase Young's, in my opinion, and in most people's opinion, still the best player in this year's draft. And he's going to bring that spark that is needed for this lacking Redskins defense, well, that has been lacking for a while now. So he's just been electric this year in college, and really pretty obvious pick here. I can't see why they pass on him. So the third pick, the Lions select Jeff Okudah. Now, Jeff Okudah is like a lockdown back. He's a lockdown back. That's all he is. He just simple lockdown, doesn't let receivers catch the ball. He's just on the receiver up tight, and that's really it for Jeff Okudah. But he's easily the best lockdown back in this year's draft. And he's pretty much going to guarantee completion. He's just really good at what he does, and that's why he is going to be the number 3 pick. So now the number 4 pick for the New York Giants, they select Isaiah Simmons. So Isaiah Simmons had a great championship game. Although they did lose, he did show why he should be a top 4 pick. Now, Isaiah Simmons, who could play most positions on the defense, mostly middle linebacker and safety, he's really like a jewel for any defensive coordinator, and I think Isaiah Simmons is going to help this defense that's been lacking for years now and make them a good defense. So the 5th pick, the Dolphins select Tua Tagovailoa. So the Dolphins need a quarterback, and there's no questioning that. Ryan Fitzpatrick is not going to cut it, and Tua Tagovailoa has shown why he should be the number 2 quarterback taken off this board. So the 6th pick, the Chargers select Justin Herbert. Now I'm going to try and speed these up because I know how many picks we have. So now Justin Herbert, definitely the 3rd best quarterback on the board, maybe even the 2nd best. Kind of difficult to choose between Tua and Justin Herbert, but Phillip Rivers, probably his last season. Justin Herbert's going to be a great replacement for this Chargers team. So number 7, the Panthers select Andrew Thomas. The Panthers' offensive line has been lacking for years now, and Andrew Thomas, who's the best lineman in this year's draft, in my opinion, is going to help protect whoever's back there next season. So the 8th pick, the Cardinals get a steal with Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy is the best wide receiver in this year's draft. He's a beast. The Cardinals only have one wide receiver, Christian Kirk. Larry Fitzgerald's career has probably come to an end, and they need another wide receiver. That is where Jerry Jeudy is going to come in and give young Kyler Murray an option. So with the 9th pick, the Jags select Derrick Brown. Now, Derrick Brown is a beast defensive tackle, and the Jaguars need a spark on defense. They're coming off of a very disappointing season. After the season before, their defense was a force to be reckoned with. Now their defense has just been slacking off the season, and they need a boost. Derrick Brown's going to hopefully bring some electricness to that defensive line. So the 10th pick, the Browns select Tristan Wirfs, another offensive lineman. Now, Baker Mayfield has little to no protection up front. Tristan Wirfs is the 2nd best lineman on the board, and the Browns are going to need someone to solidify that O-line. So the 11th pick, the Jets select CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's a close second when it comes to wide receivers, and young Sam Darnold has no options when it comes to a receiving core, and CeeDee Lamb's just going to be that perfect option. So with the 12th pick, the Raiders select AJ Espinoza. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. He's a great edge rusher. He had a great bowl game, and really he'll just take some pressure off of Crosby, who has been carrying the bulk load of the sacks this season. AJ Espinoza is, sorry, I keep butchering that name, is a really good option for an edge rusher. So picks 13 through 24. The 13th pick, the Colts select Grant Delpit. Now, Grant Delpit had an alright bowl game. He plays for LSU, he's a safety, and the Colts secondary has not looked the best this season, so Grant Delpit will help give a boost in their secondary. With the 14th pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Jedrick Wills Jr. So Jedrick Wills is another offensive lineman, and Jameis Winston has no protection at all. I mean, they need to, in free agency, build the offensive line. No protection at all. Jedrick Wills Jr. is going to help start the rebuilding process of that offensive line. So with the 15th pick, the Broncos select T. Higgins. T. Higgins had a great championship game, and in my opinion, he is the third best wide receiver in this year's draft. I know there's a lot of wide receivers that are going to go, but T. Higgins has really proved to me why he is one of the best in this year's draft. So now with the 16th pick in this year's draft, the Falcons select Javon Kinlaw. Now, Javon Kinlaw is another defensive lineman, and the Falcons have really have not had a boost at the defensive line. So now Javon Kinlaw is going to come in and hopefully help this team, which has not had a great run defense, nor has had a great pass rusher in quite some time now. So now with the 17th pick, the Cowboys select Christian Fulton. Christian Fulton's a cornerback, and the Cowboys have not had a good secondary. So now Christian Fulton's going to want to come in and give a spark to the secondary, which has been lacking for quite some time now, and take some pressure off of the offense. So now with the 18th pick, the Dolphins select Henry Ruggs, a wide receiver. So now the Dolphins, who are really in rebuild mode when it comes to their offense, are going to be drafting a wide receiver. It's pretty obvious that they're going to draft a wide receiver, take some stress off Devontae Parker, and give Tua Tagovailoa, or whoever the quarterback is next season, another young option other than Devontae Parker. So now with the 19th pick, the Oakland Raiders select Kenneth Murray, linebacker. So the Raiders, who have another first-round pick, are going to need another defensive option here. Their offensive line looks good, so I just thought another defensive option. Kenneth Murray looks good for them. Their linebackers are not that solid. Kenneth Murray is going to help, take some pressure off the offense and, just solidify the defense. So with the 20th pick, the Jags select Creed Humphreys, offensive lineman. So now the Jags also don't have a solidified offensive line. And for whoever's in the backfield in the future, Creed Humphreys is just going to look to solidify that offensive line. Maybe a rebuilding process for the Jags. We'll see. But Creed Humphrey, just a safe pick when it comes to offensive linemen. So with the 21st pick, the Eagles select Laviska Shenault Jr. If I butchered that, I'm sorry. The Eagles have no options when it comes to wide receivers, and Carson Wentz needs options. He needs options if he wants to be a successful quarterback. So Laviska Shenault Jr., his height, he's just going to give Carson Wentz another option when it comes to wide receivers, because he really doesn't have an option. He can't just keep going to Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. With the 22nd pick, the Bills select Jalen Reagor. So the only reason why I don't have him going above Laviska Shenault, Jalen Reagor's height's a little scary, 5'11", but other than that, he's shown why he is a top wide receiver in this year's draft. The Bills don't really have a big name wide receiver, Cole Beasley, I guess, but really not a big name wide receiver, and Jalen Reagor is going to help take off some pressure of the young QB in Josh Allen. So with the 23rd pick, the Patriots select Xavier McKinney, cornerback. So this wasn't a hard pick because the Patriots have a really solid all-around team. So the only position I can see them really going for is cornerback right now because their depth chart is pretty slim in cornerback. So Xavier McKinney is just going to add some depth to that cornerback position. Same with the 24th pick where the Saints select CJ Henderson, another cornerback. They have a solid all-around team. But again, another position that they need to add depth to is cornerback. Janoris Jenkins is getting old, and CJ Henderson could be a replacement one day for him and learn from veterans. With the 25th pick, the Vikings select Tyler Biadasz. Sorry if I butchered that one. Offensive lineman. So the Vikings, like many teams, have a weak offensive line. And for Dalvin Cook, it would help make him an even better running back than he already is, just to solidify that offensive line for whoever's back there in 2020. With the 26th pick, the Dolphins select DeAndre Swift. So the first running back off the board goes to the Dolphins, who really need a running back. They haven't had a good running back in a while now. And DeAndre Swift has really proved to us why he is the number one running back on this board. And he will be a great option for the Dolphins to hopefully get their run game going for the first time in a while. With the 27th pick, the Seahawks select Austin Jackson. So now, Austin Jackson is an offensive lineman, and Russell Wilson and Chris Carson needs people up front to protect them. Obviously, their offensive line is injured right now, which is a pretty big part of why they lost their game to the Packers. But the Seahawks have a pretty stacked team other than their offensive line, which has been really, really weak in the past couple weeks. So Austin Jackson's just going to come in there and bring some spark to this weak offensive line. With the 28th pick, the Ravens select Devonta Smith, wide receiver. So another talented wide receiver. There's many, many talented wide receivers on this draft board. Devonta Smith is going to give Lamar Jackson an option. Lamar Jackson does not have many options when it comes to wide receivers, and I think the Ravens are going to spend another first-round pick on a wide receiver. So now, pick 29 through pick 32 is to be determined. The Packers, Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers, and Titans are in the running for those picks. They're all still in the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see these teams battle it out. But yeah, that is the end of this mock draft. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.